Hello, stamping friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Simply Stamping Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It is week 3 of the terrific Toadstools. I can't believe we're already on week 3. The time is going by so fast this month. Okay, I think I've got everything set up on my phone. And let's just make sure everything looks right before we begin. Well, I have 3 cards to share with you tonight, and I am excited. Tonight, we're not using any white, we're not using basic white thick for our cardstocks. We're using colored paper this time to give our cards just a little different look and feel to them. So we are using the terrific Toadstools tonight. It is a photopolymer stamp set. It's a set of 16 stamps. Hi, Roz. Oh, is it cold down in Florida? My sister lives in Central Florida. It is not too cold right now. It's just around freezing and a little below freezing here, but we're having quite the snowstorm. So as I said, this has 16 stamps, and we can make lots of different toadstools, and we have some great sentiments. Hi, Bonnie. And I'm also using the Simply Said stamp set. This is one of my favorite sentiment stamp sets because it has all the basics. It has thanks, hello, birthday wishes, just a note, miss you, yay, thinking of you. Like I said, it just has about everything that you need. And this, so these are the sets we're using tonight. Okay, let's get started. All right, so our first card that we're going to make has a basic beige cardstock base, and I'm using some of the Countryside in designer series paper, or Countryside Wood, I think it is. And then I'm using Melon Mambo and some white, and just did a little bit of stamping inside. So what do we need for this? We are going to need a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to fold it in half. There we go. We are going to need a piece of, hi Priscilla, are you going to go skiing tomorrow? 4.5 by 3.25 piece of Melon Mamba. And I don't have my designer series paper cut. Let me go grab that. And for white, we're going to need 4.25 by 3 to layer on that. We are going to need a piece for the inside, 5.25 by 4, and then of course we need a piece to stamp on. So let me go grab that designer series paper. Of course, it was on the other side of my craft room. It is the Country Woods designer series paper. So let me just get the right pattern out. We could use lots of them, but I think I want to stick with the one I used. And this piece is going to be 5.25 by 4. So let's just cut this quickly. Don't know what I was thinking. I prepared all of this for in December. So that's what I was thinking. Christmas. So I'm just going to start by attaching this to the background, to the top, layering it on the front, making a nice little background, but let's put it on straight. Okay, this will be better. Okay, there we go. And we're going to be stamping this and stamping on this. So let's start with some of the stamping. So we're going to start with Mossy Meadow ink. And I'm going to stamp a little bit of the grass. There we go. Right there. And we are going to stamp in Early Espresso, the thank you. Just a little thank you. This is from the set as well. And I'm going to put that right in the upper right corner. So we'll close that. And then I'm just going to mount this onto this piece of Melon Mambo. And I'm going to use dimensionals to put this on the front of the card. Love my dimensionals. Priscilla, are you going to Crotchet tomorrow or somewhere else for your skiing? Should be a good day to ski tomorrow with all the snow we're getting tonight. Okay, there we go. That's all set. Now we can do some of our stamping. I am going to use the basic beige ink pad for all of the stems, and I need one of all three of them, so I'm going to stamp those. I'm going to do a lot of fussy cutting. Okay, where's my little one? I think I put it away. Let me grab it. Yep, I put it away. Cleaned it and put it away. There we go. That's all that I need for that. And then I am going to stamp all three mushroom tops. The small one is going to be in Misty Moonlight. I'm going to leave this out and this out because I'm going to use this on the inside. So let's do that. There we go. And then use the basic beige to do the stem. So that's for the inside of the card. Okay, let's put this in and then we'll stamp the rest of what we need. Okay, so now we also need in Early Espresso, we're going to be stamping the medium mushroom. And then the large one in our Melon Mambo. There we go. It's all the stamping we have to do. So, through the magic of TV, oh, that would be fun, Priscilla. Except I have to go to work on Tuesday, so that's going to be a hard press for me to do stamping late into the night tomorrow night. Okay, I forgot to stamp two things. I'm also going to use our little ladybug. So I'm going to stamp the ladybug's body in Memento Black. There we go. And then I'm going to stamp using the tiniest mushroom top. I'm going to use that in Melon Mamba for his body. There we go. So that is all of the stamping we needed. I forgot those two little things. So everything is cut out. Now we just have to put everything together. So I'm going to start with my largest and I am going to put the largest mushroom together. We're going to put some dimensionals on everything. I'm going to put my smallest mushroom together. And I am going to add the little ladybug. So I'm going to take the small little mushroom top that I'm using. There we go. And put this on the top of the ladybug. This is probably the hardest part of the card, getting this on. There we go. That's what he looks like. Or she looks like, since it's a ladybug. And we'll put this on the front of the mushroom. Right, like it's crawling on it. And turn that over. And then our very last one. And now let's just put our dimensionals on. There we go, and now let's just do this one. So I'm going to put the large one down first, and then I'm going to kind of layer around this one the other two mushrooms. So this one will go right like that. This one will go just like that. So it's hanging over that one. Oh, I love that. And then this one will go here. And our first card is all done. Okay, let's go on to card number 2. So this card, we're using the fresh Freesia cardstock, and we're using it the long way. And we're going to use some of the designer series paper in a fun way. All right, so let's get started. So I have a piece here of 4 1/4 by 11 inches for the main card. There we go. I have a piece of designer series paper that measures 1.5 by 6 inches. And what I'm going to do is attach it to the front of the card at a diagonal like this. So this one's fun because we're using just a little bit of the designer series paper in the background. So it makes it kind of nice. Okay, then I'm going to just cut these 2 pieces, the 2 ends, snip them right off. Okay, so there's the front of our card. So the next thing you're going to need for the inside of the card is a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 piece of cardstock, and I'm going to take this piece of designer series paper and I'm going to just put this on the bottom. So this was just a piece that was left over. So I'm going to put that down and trim off the edges as well. I had a lot of these 1/2-inch pieces. You'll see why in a little bit for the next card to use. So that's why I use that here instead of stamping on the inside. Okay, so there's the front of our card and the inside all done. So the next couple things that you're going to need another piece of the Melon Mambo paper, and it measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then I have a piece of basic white that measures 3 by 4 1/4. And on this, I'm going to be adding 2 pieces of designer series paper. So I'm going to use a small piece of the green with the leaves on it, and a piece of the fresh Freesia striped paper. The size of the fresh Freesia is 3 by 3, so we'll start putting that one on. And that is going to go right to the top. We're going to cover up this entire piece of white cardstock. And then I have a piece that measures 3 by 1 3/4 of the green with the leaves. And we're going to cover this up, the bottom piece. There we go. For our stamping, let me just grab a scrap. We are going to need, so let me just grab my handy paper towel. Because I'm going to need some of the stamps I just used. So let's get those other inks off. I'm going to need this one. I'm going to need the stem. I'm going to need the brass. And we're good to go. So now for the green, I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to start by stamping this to cut out. There we go. I'm going to stamp 2 of the leaves. There we go. And I'm going to stamp the stem. So we'll get all of the green done. Then in Melon Mambo, we're going to need the medium Toadstool. And then on a scrap piece of paper, well, it's actually not scrap because I measured it out. It measures 1/2 by 3.5. I'm going to stamp in the Melon Mambo the Let's Celebrate. So let's ink that up and we'll stamp it right here. And I am going to be trimming this, so I'm going to just stamp it over to the side. There we go. Okay, our stamping is all done. So the next thing I would do is cut all of this out, which I've already done. There we go. So let's start putting it all together and putting it on the card. So let's attach this first. The Designer Series paper, which is a free celebration item with a $60 purchase. I love this paper, I have to tell you. And it has just such pretty color combinations. And it has really caused me to go out of my comfort zone with what I'm stamping. Because I'm not usually a super bright stamper. Once in a while, but this paper is really, really making me go out of my comfort zone. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little spot of pink behind, and I am going to put this on dimensionals. And we'll have that ready when we need it. Okay, so my grass is going to go on with just Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to put it right over this little border of where the 2 pieces come in. I'm going to take my leaves and add just a little bit of adhesive. And I'm going to have one coming down and one going up. There we go. And then for my toadstool, we'll add the stem to it. And we'll add some dimensions to this as well. There we go. And that's going to go right near the leaves. And then this is going to go on dimensionals. And this is going to go on the front of our card. Get all the trash trash out of the way. Michael's was having a storage sale, so I went and bought some things. Reorganizing some of my supplies in my stamp room, and boy, my stamp room is like a mess now. Okay, so there we have it, and we just need to put our label, our sentiment on. Let me just find one more dimensional. For this last dimensional, because this is up, I need to put 2 on this one so it will be even when I put this down. So here we go. And card number 2 is done. Is that a little? Oh, I guess I should take off the other backings. Just helps it stick better that way. That's what my students say to me when the first thing they'll ask me when I'm trying to get my smartboard to turn on in the morning, and they'll say to me when it's not working, Mrs. Decibus, did you plug it in to your computer? And 9 times out of 10, they are right. Okay, so there is card number 2. Okay, card number 3, I think, is a really, really fun card. Let me show it to you. So this is the card, and it is using up all of your little paper scraps. So these are all 1/2-inch strips, 2, 4, 6, 7 of them, on a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 piece of white cardstock. And this is a piece of 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 piece of Melon Mambo. I've got one little toadstool that I made along with the saying, and then on the inside I just added some more of that designer series paper. So this is a really fun one, and it's a way to use up your paper scraps. So let's start with what I need to do for stamping. Got a lot of white paper here. I'm not quite sure why I put so much. I think it's for all of the cards that we were going to do. There's some scrap paper, and there's what I already stamped. Okay, so all we need on this is a gray granite ink pad. We need get the green ink off of the stem. And we just need, actually I'm going to stamp it right on this. I think that's what I put it there for. There we go. There's our stem. And then we need our medium toadstool, again, in Melon Mambo. And that's what this piece is for. And then let's leave this out. We'll close out the gray. Then the only other thing we need is the popping up. We haven't used that yet. So there are those 2. Popping up to say hi. I'm going to put that right in the middle. There we go. So we're done with our ink. I'm glad I'm giving you some ideas, Bonnie. Okay, so for the inside, I used this gray granite piece, and I used this Melon Mambo piece. So I am just going to, oops, this one is stuck. I am just going to put this across the bottom of the piece that's going inside. And then I'm going to take this piece and just layer it right on it, just so that we have 2 of the pieces of the designer series paper on the inside of the card. And then we'll just snip off those edges. And then this is going to go on the inside of our card. Let's just get those out of the way. It gives you plenty of room to write whatever you want to write on the inside. So I'm going to fold my piece of Melon Mambo in half. And then I'm going to add this to the inside. And this is a piece that measures 4 by 5 1/4. There we go. Now we're going to take another piece of 4 by 5 1/4 for the front. So I am going to just take these pieces let's see, I'm going to use so I'm just stacking these up. All right. So I'm going to take, since I've got 7 of them, I'm going to take 3 first. And I'm just going to snip off the ends diagonally. Yeah, that's good. And these I will probably make just a little shorter. Or about the same. They'll end up being about the same. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, and I still have all of these other pieces that I could put away for another card like this. I'm just going to start by putting these onto my piece of paper. So I'm just going to add a little adhesive, and I'm going to alternate how I put them on, going up and down. So my first one's going to be an up, my second one is going to be a down, and then I'm going to go up again, but maybe not as high up as I may go, so it's going to vary as I go along. So I'll come down a little bit. So I just want these all at different heights. I think I'll go right here. I skipped one. So it just gives a little, bit of fun to the background of the card. And there we go. This is our card's background, just using those little strips of paper. So they were 1/2-inch strips. So now this is going to go on the front of my card. So don't throw away those ends when you're using your 6x6 or any designer series paper. Just cut them in 1/2-inch strips and you have a great template for a card. So my popping up to say hello, we're going to cut this at a diagonal right here. And then I'm going to cut this a little bit over here, but I want to leave some room to put my mushroom. So I'm going to certainly made a mess tonight with all these little scraps of paper. There we go. And it is going to go on to this, like that. So the label looks like this. And then I'm going to use dimensionals to put it on the card front. There we go. Now I have a whole bunch of mushrooms to cut out afterwards for another set of cards. So we only have one more week of this stamp set. So next week is going to be a few fun folds, simple fun folds using this stamp set. And then this is just going to go right in the middle of the card. And that is all there is to it. So there's our 3 cards for this week, everybody. I hope you enjoyed them. So our first card that we made tonight was this card. Then we made this one. Actually, let's put them down like this, because these two are standing up. So we made these two and this one. A nice little color combination for tonight with our different cards. So thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I hope to see you next Sunday night for another edition of Simply Stamping Sunday. And of course, join me Friday night because I've got another great fun fold to share with you. Thank you so much again for joining me. I'll see you Friday night or next Sunday night. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.